Kalshi designed it for Americans. Like it's like, as we're saying, it's not for you or I.
Guns?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Having a flutter on the
You
football
get
score. No. That's the bad.
Legacy bookmakers are getting pretty annoyed at Kalshi and Polymarket coming in on their turf because they're just eating up the volume.
Welcome to the local. We're back in the room. We've got
That
three.
camera.
That's for me and you, yeah.
Okay, right, sorry.
Well, what's this one, though? That's your
Yeah,
one.
what's
isn't
that
it?
one then? Oh, okay.
Like it's
okay.
awesome.
Bloopers.
Okay.
Take two.
Welcome back to the local. Today we're joined by Adam, and we're going to talk about all sorts of things, sports related, prediction market related, and World Cup related. Adam's joined us recently. I'm not going to put my impressions onto this, but I'd like you to explain what you've joined us to do, what you see the role as, and what we're going to talk about today as well.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get invited onto the pod.
For having you. You sit over there.
Yeah. Well, I did. It was kind of, you guys were gatekeeping this for me for a while.
I admit, I've not been allowed on for ages.
I usually do TV as well,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I kind of like,
Any
bit of
bookings?
downgrade,
Any
yes.
bookings? Get his number later.
Yeah, but no, that's sort of what I do at Low Tech. I guess I joined coming up on 3 months ago now. The main idea was to kind of help grow the band through kind of research that highlights our data and our, agency and other things that we're going to be doing.
You
down
get
the
to
line.
you get to use our data in house.
Yeah.
See how wonderful and amazing it is.
I get to be a sort of tester for it, but also the biggest user and fan of it. So
Yeah.
And he joined at a really vibrant time coming into the World Cup, particularly with stuff that has been going on in prediction markets. And we want to talk a lot today about the amazing World Cup report that you put together off the back of that. But also framing today starts the Premier League on Friday.
Oh.
Yeah.
So lots of football chat from us today. Leeds United.
are they still in the Prem?
Yeah. So which Irish teams are in the Premier League?
Oh, yeah. We left the UK.
Yeah.
We won't get into that today.
So would you describe it as, in the past you've been a journalist and you've been in and around crypto for a while now. Was there a conscious decision as you went from journalism to sort of more frontier tech? How did that happen? What was your crypto origin story?
Yeah, I think I got into crypto in uni, or college, as we say now, and back in 2017.
The 2017 bull run.
Yeah.
Did you get into Ray blocks or?
I got into a lot of rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah. Expect.
It was back when I was doing the internship applications and thought I might move to London or New York and kind of had this maybe 10-year plan you have, and then crypto was kind of a little bit more alluring. There was the same old people were getting all those jobs and those offers, so I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Then I went away from it, ended up doing a few different internships, counting and boring things. Then during COVID, I came back to it kind of by accident. So I was I'd been living in Canada, COVID hit. I had 2 weeks of, okay, I'll see what this is like. A month later, I was like, oh, this isn't going to end. I was in a family friend's house out by a lake, 3 hours from Toronto, and I was like, I better just head home. Spent a few months in Ireland on the dole, and I was like, kind of, what am I going to do here?
Yeah. I
was like, maybe I'll upskill, I'll do a course, started checking out things online. I started writing about crypto again.
Yeah.
Because I found a job that was going to pay me, it was 20 cents a word.
Nice.
So if you did more news hits, you'd get more money.
Okay.
And you could do it from home. So I was like, this is great. Moved over to London with that and ended up kind of working with a startup as well. They were doing stuff around retail investing because the GameStop stuff had just happened. So I was writing their newsletter.
Wall Street Bets Frenzy.
All of that.
All
it
the
was
Reddit stuff. Yeah.
We would have an app that we would
2021, it was a great time.
It was a lot more fun.
It was a fun time.
Fertile, isn't it? There's a lot of stuff going on.
Bitcoins.
Both across crypto, but also just people finding investing for the first time.
Well, do you think it was because everyone was just stuck at home?
Yeah,
for sure.
It's okay, I can't go to the pub. Can't talk to people, so what am I going to do? I'm going to YOLO on random memes on the internet.
There was a lot of strange things that happened during that period. You look at
everyone was behaving really weirdly.
Yeah. Not surprising.
I think you either got into crypto or you got really woke. Those were the two paths you could take.
A lot of drinking as well.
Yeah.
I actually didn't do that much drinking.
You got fit. A lot of people were doing 5Ks and stuff like that.
I didn't do that. I did quite a lot of smoking pot. Quite a lot of eating hobnobs.
Someone in the garden or the house behind us set up a golf net.
Simulator?
Yeah, no, it was simulator. I think they just literally bought some tarpaulin or something. They were just hitting off a mat in their garden, and there's we could hear the whole summer was whoosh, whoosh.
And what about the golf?
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, moving on. I
moving swiftly.
I kind of got into it, and we had this app, and it was about tracking retail investor sentiment. Coinbase had gone IPO'd. I think Robinhood was shortly after, and it was like we collect the data on how people felt about those. Like, you'd have 5 different emotions for them. We thought that could be valuable then to sell, but they pivoted into NFTs, and I pivoted into Business Insider to do journalism full time. Mm-hmm. So I was like, spent 6 months there doing a fellowship. Then I went to the Block, where I wrote more about markets. At this point, like, I'd never been really that interested in markets. I was kind of like, something in college I did because I was like, it might look good in the CV. But then I started like actually following people on Twitter, and like this was like one of my hobbies. Yeah. So like became a bit like following United or whatever, and Man United.
Thank you. Thanks. That's just let's be very precise here.
It's always been a bit of a jarring disconnect to me.
And I won't call it the British Isles then.
These islands.
The disconnect between like crypto as a technology and the fact that it has manifested for such a long time through people's fascination with prices. Like crypto prices, Bitcoin prices, Ethereum prices.
It's the ultimate sort of sentiment based. So, like, a lot of them are not backed by anything, right?
No,
you call them meme tokens or vaporware or whatever Ponzi schemes. They've gone through many names. Yeah. So the only reason that any of this has got price is because it's like people's belief in what things. So it's kind of like the purest form of speculation, isn't it?
Like the biggest, like clout. So clout is expressed through price. Yeah. It's always been slightly jarring, I think, and as a result, it's like crypto's been a place where lots of people have grown up trading that wouldn't necessarily have grown up in and around sort of trading concepts, and so you have this huge, obviously, world where my career had been, which was traditional finance and trading and capital markets, and then this sort of second world of crypto that's grown up with people trading for the first time and discovering it. And as we often talk about, you get these new things, or like new in inverted commas things invented over here.
It's like when a physicist discovers something the mathematicians have known for 150 years.
Doesn't that go the other way around?
No.
So bringing back to the things we're going to talk about today, are you a football person? Were you a football person?
Yeah.
Do you call it soccer, don't you?
We call it soccer, because we have Gaelic football, but I've been over here long enough now to call it football. You don't have that conversation with someone, or they assume you're American or something. Like, that can be a bad word as well. So,
And so it's Man United for you?
Man United, yeah. I mean, I was born, Roy Keane and Dennis Irwin were in the United team.
Yeah.
So, and my family are all from Cork, south of Ireland, so only one choice there. Like, my dad, I think my
closer
dad
than most Manchester United fans, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Globally, for sure. Yeah.
As a football fan, are you massively enjoying the fact that your job, at least in some part, is now you can write about markets and football?
It's a big thing. I mean, without it just being sort of related to the World Cup this year, prediction markets in general have not quite come of age yet over the last year, but were at the forefront of a lot of the activity that was drawing interest as we came into the World Cup. And then obviously the World Cup hit, and it was probably the biggest betting sporting event ever, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think they're a bit more of a US phenomenon because they don't have a well-established gambling sort of legacy? You know what I mean? History. Like, you look at the UK you look at the UK and Ireland, and bookies have been on every corner ever since I remember, right? You've been able to do betting online at Paddy Power or Bet365 or whatever since I remember having the internet.
Yeah, I remember being 16 and being able to put bets on.
So prediction markets in terms of for sports, I don't think in the UK are like what I would reach to. Would you?
No, I think it's definitely a North American phenomenon. Like, when I was over in Canada, I wanted Cheltenham was on, and I wanted to put a bet on, and people were kind of like scratching their heads, and I was trying to describe to them what I wanted to do. And they were like, off-track betting. And I was like, OTB.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can bet at the track, but like if you want to do OTB, and it's these tiny little shops with like no storefront outside, you can't really see what it is. You don't know what it is.
Which is not uncommon in Canada and in the US anyway. You go to
they used to have a bookmaker in the US. You would actually have a guy.
Oh, you go to the liquor store as well, and it's like this really sort of odd store carved off away from the mall over here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, they kind of hide those things away, the kind of like gluttonous stuff, I guess, that they don't want to
expose the children to it.
Yeah.
Guns? Absolutely.
Exactly. That's right.
Having a flutter on the football score. No. That's the path.
Walmart for guns. That little strange store over there for betting.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like, so they've made it now kind of, you can feel a little bit academic if you trade a prediction market because it's kind of
it's actually binary
We'll get onto that in a bit, because I mean they are fundamentally different, right? Like betting, on a book which has been priced by a bookmaker, you might be doing the same thing, but where the money's going and who it's going to and how the prices are formed is like kind of different.
Well, not.
Don't think about Betfair.
Betfair, no, right?
No.
So so a proper exchange, no. But obviously a bookmaker is just a bit like you're trading on just their order book, right?
Yeah, it depends on how you think the overround is applied. But yeah, and they will rebalance their prices depending on where their exposures are. But yeah, I mean there's obviously lots of parallels.
Hedging with the bookies, aren't they? Right? It's they're
Depends on which one it is.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I mean, stepping back for a second, setting the scene. So rolling into the World Cup, in the US, which is obviously a huge sort of sports fan base there, but not for. Well, maybe a bit more for soccer than it used to be. But I mean, in that context, we ran in there with this kind of turf war between Kalshi and Polymarket raging. And what was your impression, Adam, of who was dominant before, and how did it change going through the World Cup?
I think it's like Polymarket was obviously the kind of the namesake for crypto markets, but a lot of people it's kind of like Netflix is the namesake for streaming. But they've changed a lot since the US election 2024.
Was it called a brand? It's got a name where the brand name becomes the brand name becomes
like Hoover.
Like Hoover.
Yeah.
To Google something. Yeah.
Comes the verb.
It's kind of really bad for the marketing department, I think, actually.
Yeah, but I don't think it's.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite like Google and Yahoo, though. I think Kalshi has actually managed to pull it back a bit in that the product design and how they kind of sell things helped them out a lot. Polymarket was synonymous with a few issues over this year, like with settlement. There was something around MicroStrategy selling Bitcoin, how they settled that and when the market ended.
And there's all these like things about, you could game Polymarket by putting another transaction on chain. So if you actually had a fill, and then you could send
non-smoothing.
You could send the non.
Oh,
yeah. And so actually there was a lot of like sketchy stuff like that. I think that people didn't like.
Yeah, and it was just kind of product kind of details that kind of have meant people shifted towards Kalshi, and that played out more than over the last 2 months as we saw.
And was that prevalent in the World Cup as well? There were things that happened, like market design, that caused a shift from Polymarket or drew attention from one to the other.
Yeah. So like the US versus the Europe debate, Kalshi designed it for Americans. Like it's like, as we're saying, it's not for you or I in the UK to bet. So they had obviously football, win, lose or draw. The group stages were quite standard. Volumes were pretty matched.
Yeah.
Get to the knockout stages and there's 9 draws out of 32 matches.
Okay.
Like, as soon as that happened on Polymarket, you saw people online being like, "Oh, I'm being scammed. The team won, but they're giving me saying that the result was a draw."
90 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, come on, you've got you get used to that, but you get used to that on a British bookie app, where you can it says in 90 minutes or it says outright.
Yeah, but they didn't have that prevalent, so it's quite interesting, the design. On the right hand side you get the trade screen straight away, quick trade, yes or no, and then below you have the different markets. So the market they were highlighting there was the 90-minute market, and Kalshi highlighted the advanced market, so more like an NFL match. So I think there was one draw last year in the NFL.
You bet on the absolute result, as opposed to what's the score at 90 minutes or are they level at 90 minutes.
Betting the outcome after the whole thing, everything's done. So the same you had in the NFL last year, there was one draw. Yeah. And the markets were all the same. It was the money line was who wins. There's no matter of the normal time is a draw. So Kalshi one made more sense for people. You probably had some people switching over after that, just because they felt like they got kind of
So you talked a lot about the volumes between Kalshi and Polymarket. Have you got any sense of actually how much volume they were doing relative to Betfair or?
We don't have the Betfair.
Sky. Have we got any kind of handle on that?
We'll get Flutter. I guess the Paddy Power owner will have their earnings in. October, November, so we'll get a better idea then for our end of year reports.
You got a sense how much of the sports, global sports trading market is going through there?
I think the idea was in the US, North America, bookmakers would do about 3 billion, and I think these guys did a cash, close to 6 billion, so nearly double that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the notional number, if you take every contract as $1, is close to 16 billion. But if you look at pricing it more accurately, it's about 5 to 6 billion maybe.
Okay. Right, okay.
Yeah. So probably double what the US bookmakers are going to do
in a market that's roughly the same size.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. So and that's why you've got a lot of these off track betting or more bigger US kind of legacy bookmakers are getting pretty annoyed at Kalshi and Polymarket coming in on their turf because they're just eating up the volume. Yeah. It's because it's easier, I guess, if you're a retail user and you've just got this zero to one bet. It's much more kind of straightforward for them. The interface is quite nice.
Yeah, I think some of the weird, because Americans do it differently again, right? Because the standard way you get it in UK is
5 to 4
fractional odds,
Yeah.
which I do think sort of gate it a little bit, just for the average person, because you kind of you kind of think, okay, so if I get £5 in, do I get £4 back? Or I put £4 in, do I get £5 back? And all this kind of stuff.
And of course,
but I think decimal odds, which is not the normal way, it makes it clearly like, oh, okay, if I put 10 in, I'm going to get 22 back or whatever.
Yeah.
But of course, putting it as a probability, as a percentage between 0 and 1, is kind of the most natural way that people think, right? Like everybody from age 5 knows like how to say how likely something is to happen.
Yeah, because otherwise you have to go. Like if you think about whether it's a good probability weighted bet, you've got to go back out through the fractional line.
Yeah.
You even have to back out through the decimal odds. You're like,
well, it's 1 over the decimal, isn't it? Right,
which is a bit easier.
Yeah, which is a bit easier. Yeah, but you still.
But with the probability percentages, just clean.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, and the interface is nicer as well. I mean, if you look at even Paddy Power, like is a bit daunting when you log on, as you say, with the fractions, but also tracking kind of bets over the long term. I think I had a bet in the US election last time. You can't see that history of your bet and your position. It's quite nice how they've gamified it a bit on Kalshi and Polymarket, so you can see that history of where the odds were, where it was 6 months ago, and you can
because it is really a position that you've opened.
Yeah.
So which does have a lifetime equity curve.
And it's quite fun to look at, like,
Yeah.
you can see where you put your bet on. It's like, you can screenshot it and share it with someone.
You can see where you should have exited it.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if I could have my Bernie Sanders bet over a timeline, I could see it and, like, visualize that
That's
better.
ultimately one of the big differences as well, isn't it, right? Like, actually trading out of your bet.
This is what
once you're into the bet.
Obviously,
mention. You don't get in Paddy Power, right? Once your bet's on, your bet's on. Unless they're going to give you an in-play, cash out or whatever.
Which you should never take, because the pricing of them is always really bad. This brings me on to two things, which is why are we, in general, talking about this, and there's two elements to that. One is because a bit like Betfair and any other betting exchanges out there, I don't know any other betting exchanges, like betting exchanges.
What, like peer-to-peer?
No, yeah, peer-to-peer with the same sort of order book format as Betfair. Anyway, regardless, like similar to Betfair, Polymarket, Kalshi, and a lot of the other prediction markets that have cropped up are order book based, right? So it feels, for a trading firm, it feels very similar to be operating in that type of environment. There's that, and then there's the bigger prediction market thing, which we've been talking about for a long time now as a business, which is X Sports is this design and mechanism and these venues somewhere else for risk to be traded in general, from a speculative perspective, but also potentially from a hedging perspective. Obviously, we're talking about this through a sports lens, and there's lots of accusations that prediction markets have had, I think, that you're just another way of sort of legalising sports betting or getting around sports betting regulations. Do you think the World Cup and the focus that the prediction markets had through the World Cup has helped or hindered them in their bigger pictures?
I think, from my point of view, it's helped in that, stress tested they can do 36 billion in volume in a month of work.
Yeah.
But they haven't highlighted that, so I think it says what they think. There's been these huge volumes on Polymarket and Kalshi. They've not been screaming from the rooftops about it.
Yeah.
Probably because they're like, look, that's great, but this isn't our main business line down the end. They want to focus more on the signals and the kind of, the elections, the Fed, those
the macro
things.
stuff.
Yeah, and even structured products, like you saw, I think it was Getafe was going to get relegated last year, and Getafe and SIG got together and did a prediction market kind of hedge with that.
Okay.
So that they would, if they went down, they would get the equivalent, like how their hedge worked out, they would get the equivalent funding they would have had for TV advertisements if they'd stayed up.
Which I think is a lot of people, institutional people's potential use case that might be driving a lot of the value that these prediction markets are getting now. I think that's Kalshi raised a huge amount of valuation, and there's rumours of them having a 40 billion valuation now as well. So, I think if they're going to go down that route...
They're getting sued for getting around sports betting regs by New York State.
And I think that's probably why they're not highlighting it as much, because they wanted the other things they do are where they see their business line going eventually.
Yeah.
Like, I think Marex did a structured product on was it the Fed end of year rate, like where that's going to be, and using the Kalshi markets for that.
So it's bespoke hedging.
Yeah.
Like it's pinpointing risk.
I think that's what they want to do more of. You see it, they're talking about people are kind of offsetting kind of cash capital management stuff as well.
Yeah.
On there, so that's probably more where they want to go. So this is like, I guess it's like the Solana thing a few years ago. And people are like, if you're launching 10,000 meme coins a week, is it a good thing?
Yeah.
Not really, but in the long run, it means we can house more, T-bill treasury tokenized funds on here. Yeah. So I think that's kind of where we're at from it. It was a good stress test, but what's the long-term goal of it is more on the financialization side of things.
And there's plenty of other incumbents that will come in, and if they choose to lean away from sports, either of the big two.
It's a much more transparent way of getting sort of like your over-the-counter pricing. I remember where you'd sort of, we were trading and we wanted to hedge the idea of a Hong Kong dollar DPEG, right? And what do you do if you want, like, nobody trades like this, an option on that, right? On the Hong Kong dollar DPEG.
Well,
so
I mean,
you
they
go
would,
to
but you just get an awful price.
Well, exactly,
Yeah.
right? So you have to like ring a guy, he goes, I'll come back and get you a price, and you get a price the next day and it's awful. Whereas actually, if you could start a market for that and just say, I'm going to put some
What's the probability there's going to be?
Yeah.
Then you get an indicative
and
price
it's
of that.
much clearer pricing on these kind of like more opaque, more esoteric
events. Yeah. And you get precise.
Yeah.
So do you guys think then, does the liquidity matter as much? Like, let's say some of the token price markets or something else has got 100K in volume on there. Mm-hmm. So if you're in your example, if there's 200K in volume on there, is that still enough for you to say, okay, this is indicative of the Hong Kong dollar DPEG? Yeah?
Hard to say, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I think it was more about where the spread was and the depth rather than actually how much volume had gone through. If somebody was willing to sit quite tight and take 10 million, 100 million or something like that, then maybe it would be. But like on something that's widespread. And
I think the big unlock for the prediction markets away from the sports side will be on solving the liquidity issue on these more esoteric things. And I think someone at some point will come with a protocol level design which solves this, whether it's like an HLP in hyperliquid.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a way that you could design
socialize it?
Where
somehow.
you can be socialized into the protocol where you can go, there is liquidity there for these things because we've calculated, some correlations.
Particularly on maybe on an RFQ basis, so they're not sitting there in the order book. So you have order books all sort of there for things, events that they want to list, but potentially someone comes with something which is bespoke, not listed, or they see the order book market and it's not got the depth they want, and then it drops down to an RFQ, and the RFQ hits this maybe like a big socialized pool of liquidity that's comfortable to price, and then distribute the risk across thousands of addresses. Something like that, I think, will be worked on.
I guess it's a shame, like we mentioned HLP. I thought Hyperliquid might be doing more kind of interesting stuff like that.
Of course,
on their
HLP4 was like...
Is HLP4 doing any volume?
No, it's just, and they've just I think mainly gone out with like Fed, Bitcoin price in 15 minutes, kind of simple stuff. But yeah, as you say, they have the scope there to do kind of maybe more interesting stuff. But I guess all the volume they're doing on equities and pre-IPO stuff, they don't really have the incentive right now to go and kind of try change things.
Sorry, it was coming. I couldn't help it. HLP4. Sort of. When did it launch? It launched
a year ago.
No, it was announced
earlier this year.
Yeah, and then it went around June, I think, like before the
World
It's
Cup.
longer. It's a while ago.
It was probably out there as a HLP. For a while, and then it was actually approved. But I think you're right. But it was pre-World Cup because there was so much momentum around Polymarket and Kalshi and so much attention, mindshare, and I think the Hyperliquid community were like, we're going to launch HLP, we're going to just suck up all of that volume and it's all going to be ours, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they maybe there's more to come there, but maybe they've kind of sidelined that for now. Because I think people were saying like, it's going to be interesting. You can offset your risk with like going short on a Bitcoin 15-minute market and having your perp, but none of it ever kind of played out. And
I just don't know if the 15-minute pure hyper speculation, 5-minute ridiculous speculation is ever really going to be a long term.
Kalshi has perps now as well.
It's really going to be a long term sort of thing.
No.
Retail do like these sort of like high dopamine gambling.
We've seen this effect though within the option space. Maybe
that's 0 days to expire.
And we sort of saw it. Certainly from when I was trading a lot more options, you didn't have anything beyond the next quarter contracts. You might have a few that were monthly, like the European indices were monthly, but because no one had a view about where the equities were going to be, like in a particularly long time. But all of those major indices have got suites of shorter dated product now.
But isn't that just a cut with the American sort of, no, they've got no perps, so they all end up trading 0 days because they actually want something as close to a perp as they can get.
I think there's definitely that effect.
Like how much like American retail are really, really thinking about the complexity of these kind of
the short dated options didn't come from a retail demand.
Were they ETFs, like leveraged, like 2x return stuff?
The equity indices stuff. So the S&P, they went to weeklies. The Eurostoxx went to weeklies. That I think was coming from systematic strategies who wanted to access shorter dated vol to do variance risk premium harvesting and stuff like that. And so it was not a pure sort of, I need this because I need to hedge that particular date. It was there's this effect where the variance risk premium gets bigger as the shorter dated you get in. And so I think that was part of it. And then I think as we came to the retail attention with GameStop and all that sort of stuff.
Back in 2021.
Yeah, people wanted short-term bets. And that's what it was, and high leverage.
Yeah.
And maybe eventually we can get like pre-lunch expiries, like just get the like 9:30 to 12.
FX has 3 fixings a day.
Yeah.
And you can get. I mean, it's hard, but you can get options that are into each of the expiries. Yeah.
That'd be great.
WMR is the big one though.
Yeah.
At the 4 o'clock.
That'd be great for retail. They'd love that.
Yeah.
Retail don't realise how much they're getting screwed if they do an FX trade around 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Market is like around there because people might nudge it up for the fixing.
Because the fixing sits underneath all sorts of structured products. And
and also sort of like our corporate balance sheets.
Balance sheet.
Yeah, because Apple when they're wanting to look at what their balance sheets were, they take the WMR fix.
And they charge for that, right?
Yeah.
To be able to reference it. Yeah. Okay, so coming back to football and sports maybe, and I'm thinking about where the large prediction markets have been. Do you think people saw themselves as trading, or when they were like using Kalshi and Polymarket, like I'm going to enter here and I'm going to try and exit here, or do you think they were literally just betting still?
There was a little bit of that, but a lot of the bets would come in pre-match. I guess the same you probably have in a bookmaker as well. So people were putting in before the 90 minutes. Then you weren't seeing a whole lot of change. When there was a goal, there was some repricing and some trades.
Yeah.
But mainly quite stale during the 90 minutes.
Oh, interesting. So you weren't seeing, you were seeing it behave much more like a book where somebody puts a bet on and then they wait for the outcome.
Yeah.
It's a 0-1 outcome. Rather than a trader or trading, which is much more like,
I'm watching the momentum.
I'm going to get into that price. Okay, price has moved 5-10% in my favour. I'm going to exit that trade.
There wasn't a lot of that. And I guess maybe it's the sort of time of a match, like 90 minutes is a lot of time there. They're kind of culture difference. You saw a lot more of that in the extra time.
Maybe it's also the returns profile. You trade a perp, and if the thing moves a few percent and you've got a few percent leverage in a day, you'd be like, sweet, I made 10-15% on that trade. Yeah. That'd be a good thing. Whereas, obviously these prediction markets, you're talking you can double your money.
Yeah.
And the rest, quite easily. So, if you're getting at very low odds and it ends up coming out. So maybe actually the payoff utility is much higher, like the expected value or something is much higher if you just hold it rather than trying to benefit on a few.
Yeah, I think it's because Bitcoin keep on going to tick. There is a 90 minutes that kind of end is there in sight. Yeah. So it's kind of easier to kind of white knuckle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was much more trading extra time, when the second half 15-minute would kind of come to a close. Back to the kind of short hyper focused market. It would really flip around. I think the German game with the penalties.
The vol's higher, so the chance of
the convexity is huge then as well.
Yeah, your chance of having a really big payoff.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm hearing about that is that people really like asymmetric payoffs.
Yeah.
Right? People want to bet a tenner.
The shorter it is.
And they want to win 10 grand. From it. That's what they really want to do.
And I think if Infantino and Trump figured that out, then every match would be 15 minutes with a water break in the middle.
Yeah.
From the data that we have and the data that you've looked at, I seem to remember you looking at some stuff around how quickly the information got into the prediction market. So if there was a goal, what was the sort of lag to see whether...
They kind of step up as well, right? I remember when we looked at that, some of the less liquid markets, they would reprice kind of like a ladder, quite slowly, and then some of them were less than a second or but one was like 4 seconds for a decent enough big game.
Okay.
Before actually repriced and finished like repricing.
So see the goal.
Yeah, and then there was like, kind of a little bit of repricing, 1 second, a little bit, then like full repricing after 4 seconds.
Wow.
And it was quite it's quite slow, I guess.
Well, maybe there's some arbitrage opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I saw something somewhere, probably on X, where you have these momentum measures, and the BBC
Oh
do
yeah,
that
where
now.
it's like the map, and then there's a goal. And
Yes,
it goes
yeah. And they'd overlaid them or something with the prediction market order book as well, so you could see the two, and they were reasonably well correlated as you assume, but it's not efficient. Right?
No.
No.
And momentum is nothing. It's not a goal. Right? So, okay, interesting. Right.
But yeah, there's definitely some lag in how they reprice on the smaller matches.
I wonder if this is coming from the fact that, like, where you're actually getting the prices from, the authoritative prices for these markets are not really coming from there. The makers on there are probably pricing them from some proprietary model or from some sharper book or something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just how long it takes. Maybe they're on a delayed feed, or the feed's not passing. So
yeah, I think there's definitely some of the feeds and some of the infrastructure is probably not right there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so this is probably good for them.
I mean, the bookies have got huge and even to some extent an exchange like Betfair, huge protections against themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's not you can't have it. What you do is like delayed by 5 seconds the taker order and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously the prediction markets are much
more open,
and much faster,
peer to peer.
So maybe they're just waiting for the other markets to move first before they reprice it there or something.
And so, back to the World Cup, and we'll talk about the Premier League in a second. We obviously talked about the high level numbers, billions of dollars going through in both venues and across the tournament. What was the single biggest game? Can you remember?
The final, I think, ended up being the single biggest game because
Okay.
it went to extra time as well.
Yeah.
So I think you had like maybe over 300 million or so on that one.
Drag it in though.
And group stages, anything particularly interesting there?
The England game was pretty big in the group stages. Oh, no, sorry, England Dr. Congo was a pretty big game.
Yeah.
DR Congo, sorry. England DR Congo.
I like Congo.
That was a pretty big one. In the group stages as well, I think you had
America Switzerland was big.
Yeah, America Switzerland was big because I think it's like it was one of their first kind of perfect kickoff times for West Coast and East Coast.
Right.
So you got a lot of people watching. Good time to maybe tune in and.
So there's a lot of seasonality actually found with the volume.
Yeah. So better times for games that would lead to more volumes as well. Like for sure.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah. But I mean that's why you're seeing more and more of them. Like we're talking about the Premier League coming in. There is they're kind of aware that they want to have 24/7 coverage of all the games of the world. So that's why I used to work at a spread betting company in college, and you had the cricket in India, and you had second division in Romanian football, and then you had ice hockey, Ontario Hockey League in Canada, and you had the Vancouver League,
and one rolls into another.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a reason. There's always something wrong when you go into a sport in a betting shop. Right?
Yeah. It's for degenerate gamblers.
So the biggest games tended to be around that perfect time for kind of Central, East, and West in the US.
Okay.
Interesting. I wonder if we'll see. It'd be different when it's Premier League.
Yeah, well,
I'd be interested what the Premier League volumes are going to be relative to the World Cup volumes.
Yeah, well, I remember
on those.
Are you going to see a big Premier League game? I don't know, Leeds versus somebody.
No one.
Yeah. Are you going to see like a big important game like that? Be equivalent to the World Cup final in terms of volumes, or is it going to be much more muted? I'd be interested to know.
I mean, from living there, I remember the kind of best game, like living in Toronto. You wake up on a Sunday if you had like a sort of 3 p.m. 3:30 kickoff, whatever, 2:30, 4:30.
Yeah,
it's a great game because you can go out and get breakfast, kind of come home and watch it. So I guess for gambling, it's the same thing. If you've been out the night before, if you're hungover, or if you're just sitting around the couch and it's snowing somewhere in like upstate New York, you're probably going to put more money on that match then. And then you roll into the red zone football, and then you're just kind of if you've got to win, maybe you're going to keep on going. Yeah.
So, where can people find this report, the World Cup report?
Reports on the website. We'll have the link in the comments, and you can subscribe to our research as well every week on Download Tech.
Okay.
So yeah,
fantastic. And rolling into the Premier League then. So obviously that kicks off
Friday.
Friday.
We're not recording this in the past, are we, or the future?
We're recording it for going out on Friday.
It's the time machine.
Okay. Sorry, yeah.
It's today. It's not today.
So that Premier League starts on Friday.
Yeah.
If I'm going to bet, I'm still not going to go to Polymarket or Kalshi for that. What about you?
Well, I'm banned from betting
Okay,
in the UK.
We won't talk about that.
Because I did too much. Well, no, I did a lot of matched betting.
Yeah.
So you
talked about this, yeah.
Big arbitrage opportunity, but then they banned me from doing it. So typically, if I want to put a bet on, I ask Stephen, who uses, I think, Sky Bet. And I say, Stephen, put us 50 quid on that, and then if it comes off, I get my money back off him.
Yeah, and if
it loses, I'm like, I'll pay next week. Yeah,
it's a good system.
It's a great system for me.
I'll probably
like a martingale.
Yeah.
I'll probably go with Paddy Power, but I think it'll be fun one to track on Kalshi or whatever. You've got the odds right now. Like if I
remember I was looking at like last year on Premier League, like Leeds, probability of Leeds to go down and this kind of stuff, and they were just the liquidity and the markets were crap.
Yeah.
On Polymarket versus what odds you could get on Sky or whatever.
Yeah, but they're only giving 9% chance United win the league right now, I think.
Is that all right? Misprice.
Yeah. I'm going to buy that.
0% chance.
I'm going to buy that and sell it, maybe mid-season when they're kind of second or third in the league. So,
Second again.
Okay, so some yes/nos then. Can we talk about the Premier League then?
So basically, what I heard from that was none of us are going to use Kalshi or Polymarket to trade. I think you've got
it's hard in the UK.
Yeah, it's got this stickiness as well, though, right? Yeah. Why the hell are you going to, you've got your app already, it's already on your phone, you've already KYC'd, it's already linked to your bank account, you already know the prices are going to be pretty good. Unless your intention is to actively try and scalp and trade in the match.
Yeah.
If you really want to express an outcome on the sports, I just don't see why in the UK what their draw is to pull people away from doing it on their phone, other than if you want to do it on-chain currency. Unless you've already got some cash on-chain that you want to do that. I just don't see what the draw is in the UK at the moment.
I'd be more interested in using it for if I'm saving up for a gaff and the interest rates are going to stay higher, I can kind of emotionally hedge that, by betting on where the interest rate might be in 12 months. But I'm not going to bet on Man United on there. I'll do that on Paddy Power.
Yeah.
If I want to buy Fed rates or BOJ.
Yeah, something that's not there.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I never, very, very rarely use a bookie. Like we use Betfair every time if it's something liquid, because you don't have to pay you have to pay fees, but it depends on what the sort of volumes are like. But paying the overrun or the fee to the bookie annoys me when there's a more efficient market.
Yeah, but I can see why as a firm.
Yeah,
we're going to be trade shillings.
You can't use Polymarket cash in the UK anyway, right? I mean, technically, yes, there are ways.
There are ways.
There are ways.
Yeah.
But there's no app yet, so I can sit there. Whereas if you Paddy Power on my phone, easy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can do that on the tube. It's and it's normal. You see people doing it.
Only certain parts of the tube, though.
Yeah. Northern Line's quite good. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do some prediction market style yes/nos on some events, particularly in relation to Premier League, but also some wider cultural and political significance as well.
Interesting.
So easy one to start with: Arsenal to win the league.
No.
Yes, sadly.
Okay.
I think so.
What are you going to make a market on it?
I don't know.
We talked about whether we should make these probabilities. What's your probability on Arsenal winning the league?
Arsenal winning the league, I would probably buy something like 20, 25, I reckon.
It's never going to be priced there. It's going to be...
Exactly. That's why I buy it.
I'm such a good investor.
It's going much higher, no?
I think it will be. I think it'll be priced much higher.
40.
I
think 40.
We can look at the odds and find out.
They really, really laboured over it last season. It was basically Man City kind of fucking up, drawing against Bournemouth,
but Pep's
where they
gone.
fumbled the bag when they had it in theirs. Pep's gone, but I don't know.
Okay, next one.
Rapid fire.
Man City out of the top 4 finish.
Oh.
Ooh,
yes. No. Okay. Leeds to make Europe.
No.
Conference. I don't know,
Spurs to be in the relegation zone.
No.
I'm going to go yes. They spend too much money. I'm going to go yeah.
No, I think they. I think too much of a scare for them.
No, I think they're set up to do like what Arsenal did last year, to spend 400 million.
Okay, next one.
Liverpool, sorry.
Andy Burnham to be Prime Minister still in 12 months.
Yes.
No.
You reckon there's going to be an election?
I reckon they'll get him out. They'll get sick of him after 6 months, and the rest of the party will tear him down.
Mate, it's all right. He's solved bus passes. Don't worry that yields are at 6%. It's free bus passes for the whoever.
Reform to be top of the polls.
In 12 months?
Christmas time.
Christmas time.
Oh, betting polls, yeah.
I think no on that. I think...
You think there's different information there where people will... Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Betting polls, YouGov or whatever will do, they'll do what they do and they'll be slightly lower, but on the betting, they'll be higher.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I don't know, I think a bit of Sheen's going off Farage, a little bit of Burnham, Bounce.
Democrats to take the House in November. One for
No.
the US friends. No?
No.
I think they will.
You think they will?
Yeah, I think
I think they still haven't got their act together. There's too much.
Yeah, they are shit.
Yeah, internally they're too much of a mess.
I think also
yeah.
Trump's kind of doing.
Yeah, but he's taking. I think he's kind of like the meme where they have the knives on him, and he's taking all the heat off the kind of people running for Senate and Congress.
Isn't it just a classic that if the president's approval rating is down, that the House switches?
I think it's all upside down now. So,
okay,
yeah.
High Street Bank takes stablecoin deposits before 2030 in the UK.
Yes.
Yeah, easy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Farage to be PM before Bitcoin at 200 grand.
Yeah.
So this is a double one there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about if I don't think Farage will ever be PM?
Okay, so that's my other one. Farage to be PM at some point. Yes.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance he could be PM at some point.
There's definitely a good chance.
Yeah, and then
There's probably a probability attached to it somewhere.
And then the binary on that is like Bitcoin to get 200k.
Well, Bitcoin will get to 200k by definition.
Yeah,
by definition, right? Because they're going to keep printing money.
But the speed of which
whether or not it's going to get to 200k.
The speed at which it gets to 200k and him getting elected is much higher.
Okay, and a personal one: Brentford to make Europe next year.
Which Europe?
Any of them?
Conference.
Any of them, yeah.
Was you got to finish 9th for that?
Yeah, no, it was 8th last year.
And you finished 9th?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, why not?
Yeah, I like Keith Andrews.
Tin pot Moneyball betting.
Got to support the Irish managers as well. So.
All right, yeah, good. Thanks very much, chaps. That was very good. If you want to catch this, catch it all the normal podcast. But
Are you doing it twice?
Yeah.
If you want to catch this on all of your normal podcasts.
I was looking at the whole thing. No, because they were watching it already. It's a silly thing to say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you want.
If you want to watch, that's why I stopped saying it, because I was like,
all of the places you normally would.
If you don't want to watch it, go back and delete the app.
Delete the app and don't watch it.
Sorry about that.
That's been the local. Thank you.